Alright, so this is part 3 of 3. We are going to start with number 27. This is called a rational equation problem, and it just means an equation with rational expressions. Alright, so let's begin. 2x plus 4, and this is being divided by 2, and then you have minus 3x divided by x minus 4, and this will be equals to x. We need to solve for x. Now, before we do anything, notice that one of the denominators is x minus 4, right? And a consequence of that is that x cannot be 4, because if x is 4, this denominator will be 0, right? So before we actually start, we need to find x, right? And the solution is this. But before we actually begin, we need to say that the solution cannot be 4. X equals 4 cannot be a solution. And the reason for that is because if x was 4, well, this denominator would be 0, because this would be 4 minus 4, which is 0, and there's no way we can allow 0 to be the denominator. Alright, so having said that, we need to find the common denominator. One of the denominators is 2, the other one is x minus 4. So the common denominator will be 2 times x minus 4. They don't have any common factors. If you look at this first fraction, the first fraction has a 2 on the denominator, right? But the denominator needs to be 2x minus 4, so we need to multiply the denominator by x minus 4. If you do that on the bottom, this is the expression on top, the numerator. So we also need to sorry about that. We need to multiply by x minus 4 minus. And alright, the denominator for the second fraction is x minus 4. And we need to have 2 times x minus 4. So now we need to multiply the second fraction by 2 in the denominator. But if you do that on the bottom, you have to multiply 3x by 2, which will give you 6x. And then the denominator for the third expression for x is actually 1, but you need 2 times x minus 4 to be the denominator, right? So we multiply, there's a 1 here, right? You don't need to write it. You need to multiply the denominator by 2 times x minus 4, so you need to multiply the top by 2 times x minus 4. Alright, so let's do that on the next slide. So on top you have 2x plus 4 times x minus 4, and this on the bottom has to be 2 times x minus 4, and then the second fraction is 2 times x minus 4, and this on top is 6x, because you multiply this one by 2, and then equals x times 2, that would be 2 times x, and then x minus 4, and then this on the bottom is 2 times x minus 4. Alright, so let's do the first side, or the left side, 2 times x minus 4. This on top, you need to multiply the 2x times x, that would be 2x squared. You need to multiply the outer, so 2x times minus 4, that would be minus 8x. And then the inner will be x times 4, which is 4x. And then last will be 4 times minus 4, which is minus 16. And then you still have minus 6x. And on top, you have 2x times x minus 4, so it'll be 2x squared. And then 2x times 4 is minus 8x. And this on the bottom is 2 times x minus 4. Alright, and notice that the denominators are the same, right? The two fractions are the same. The denominators are the same, so that means the tops will be the same. So let me write just the top, 2x squared, and then we are going to simplify. Minus 8x plus 4x, that's minus 4. Minus 4 minus 6 is minus 10. Minus 10x. That would be the only number is minus 16, and then this is equals to 2x squared minus 8x. All right. So this is a quadratic equation, apparently, right? But we need to move everything to the left, so you subtract 2x squared and plus 8x. Let's go ahead and do it in one step. So minus 2x squared. We need to leave 0 on the right hand side, plus 8x. All right, so this is where you get the 2x minus 2x squared cancels. You get nothing for x squares, and the x's you get minus 10x plus 8x. You get minus 10x, or rather minus 2x, minus 16. And this will be on the right hand side, 2x squared minus 2x squared gives you nothing. 8x minus 8x gives you nothing. So this is a 0. All right. So let's continue up here. Yeah, let's go here. Yeah, minus 2x equals 16. Because here you can add 16 on the left and 16 on the right. Now we divide by minus 2 here. You divide by minus 2, you divide by minus 2. And you actually get x equals minus 8. And that's the only solution. Alright, let's move on to the next one. The next one is apparently 27, according to my records. No, actually 28. 28. Alright, so this is 3x plus 1 divided by x minus 2, and then plus 4 divided by x, and this is equals to minus 8 divided by x squared minus 2x. Now the denominator, see, this denominator right here, the first one, is actually x minus 2. This one is x, so you will need an x and an x minus 2 for the common denominator. And the denominator for the third portion, for the right hand side, is actually x squared minus 2x. But if you factor it, you factor the x, you will get x minus 2. So this right here is actually x squared minus 2x. You can actually multiply. X times x is x squared, x times 2 is minus 2x. So the common denominator is x times x minus 2, which is the same denominator on the right hand side. Alright, so the first fraction is 3x plus 1 divided by x minus 2. But the denominator on the bottom needs to be multiplied by x, right? Needs to be x times x minus 2. So you need to do that for the top first, for the top also. And then on the second expression you have an x, but you actually need to have x times x minus 2. So you multiply the bottom by x minus 2. That means you need to multiply the top by x minus 2. And then equals. On the right hand side you don't have to do anything. See, because this is on the bottom, is equals to x squared minus 2x, which is the same as x times x minus 2. So all the denominators are the same, right? Alright, because all the denominators are the same, you can just get rid of them or eliminate them, and let's multiply the top. X times 3x, that's 3x squared. X times 1, that would be x. And then 4 times x, well, that would be 4x. And then 4 times minus 2, that's minus 8. And that will give you equals to minus 8. I'm going to continue up here. On this equation on the bottom, we are going to add 8. We are going to add 8. And also, at the same time, I'm going to simplify x and 4x. So this one on top, you got the 3x squared. But let's put the x and the 4x together. That's 5x. And then the minus 8 plus 8 on the left side cancel, and the minus 8 plus 8 on the right hand side cancel. She's get equals x, actually 0. Sorry about that. Now we need to solve this one. This is a quadratic equation, and we solve this by factoring. Factor the x, and the only thing left will be 3x plus 5. This will be 0. One of the solutions is x equals 0. That comes from here, and the other one is taken from 3x plus 5 equals 0. For this last one, you subtract 5, so you get 3x equals minus 5. So you divide by 3, you get minus 5 over 3. So this is one of the solutions, x equals minus 5 over 3. And the other one is x equals 0, except for one thing, and I forgot to do that at the beginning. Notice that the denominator here is x, and the denominator cannot be 0, right? So the solution cannot be 0 or 2. Now 2 being not a solution is not a problem, but x equals 0 being not a solution is a problem, because we apparently just here we said x equals 0 is a solution, but we cannot have that as a solution because the denominator is x, and x cannot be 0, right? X cannot be 2 either, but that's not a problem because the other one is just minus 5 over 3. Alright, so this is the only solution. X equals 0 is not a solution, right? Alright, let's do 29. And this is the same. You have 3 over x squared. I'm saying it's the same kind, not the same exact problem, but the same kind of problem. And alright, so the common denominator will be x squared, right? This right here is x times x. This is x. This is basically over 1. So the common denominator will be x squared. This is the way we do it. The first part, the first fraction is 3 over x squared. Alright, that's the same. The second fraction is minus 47 over x. But you need to have x squared on the denominator. So you multiply by x, gives you x squared. But if you do that on the denominator, you have to multiply by x in the numerator. And the same thing with the right hand side. On the right hand side, on top you have 16, on the bottom you have 1, but you need to multiply by x squared because x squared is the common denominator, right? But if you multiply x squared on the bottom, you have to multiply x squared on top. Now, when all the denominators are the same, you can just do the top. So 3 minus 47x equals 16x squared. And if we, this is not standard form, right? So the way we do it is subtract 16x squared on the left, subtract 16x squared on the right, and then this is what you get. Minus 16x squared, that's the x squared. Next you have the x's, so it's minus 47x's plus 3, and that one is positive. You do plus 3 equals 0. Alright, so that's, I need to move on to the next slide. Minus 16x squared minus 47x plus 3 equals to 0. Alright, next slide. This is the problem. Minus 16x squared minus 47x plus 3 equals 0. So we know this is in standard form, right? So A will be minus 16, B is minus 47, and C is 30. Now, the standard form gives you the A, the B, and the C. And we need the A, the B, and the C because we need to use the quadratic formula. This is the quadratic formula. Minus B plus minus B squared for a C inside of the radical, and then 2A on the bottom. Alright, so b is minus 47. But minus b is the opposite, right? So it's just 47 plus minus. Instead of the radical, you need b squared. So that's 47 squared. Now it's negative 47. But the square root of negative 47 is 47 negative times 47 negative. The answer would be positive, right? So it will be 2,209. So 2,209 minus 4 times a, which is negative 16, times c, which is 3. And we are going to divide by 2a. 2 times a, it will be 2 times 16 negative, so it's minus 32, right? Now, the next thing we do, we are going to do 47 plus minus. We need to find the number inside of the radical. On the bottom, you still have minus 32. Alright, so we need to find the number inside of the radical. So you do, we already have 2209, but it's alright. 2209 minus 4 times negative 16. So you do 16 with a negative sign times 3, and you get 2401. Now hopefully that will be a perfect square, but let's find out. So it's 2401. And alright, so let's do 47 plus minus. What about 241? 2401. So if that's the square root, if that's a perfect square, the square root will be an integer, and it is an integer. The square root of 2401 is actually 49, and then you divide by minus 32. So you actually have 2. We do the top, 47 plus 49. You use the plus first, right? So 47 plus 49, that would be 96. Positive 96 divided by minus 32. So we divide 96 by 32. Let's find out. It's 3 with a negative sign. And then the other x, we use the minus, right? So 47 minus 49 is minus 2. You divide by minus 32. This is a fraction. And when you divide by negative 2 on top, you get 1. You divide by negative 2 on the bottom, you get 1 over 16. So you get 2 answers, right? Minus 3 and 1 over 16. Alright. Let's do, this is the next one. Next one is 30 according to my count. Now this is a different kind of equation. This is called a radical equation, and this is 7x plus 64 inside of the square root equals to 3x plus 18. Alright, now the way we solve this, we need to get rid of the square root on the left side, and to do that we are going to find the square, or we are going to square each of the sides. If you square the left side, the square root cancels, so the only thing you get is 7x plus 64. Now on the right hand side, you have to square it, right? So it's 3x plus 18, and square. Alright, so let's do that. So this is 7x plus 64 equals, we had squared this binomial right here, and squaring it means you multiply 3x plus 18 times 3x plus 18. Alright, so you had to FOIL. So 3x times 3x, that's 9x squared. You have to do the outer. 3 times 18, I don't know what is 3 times 18, that would be 54. So 54x, you do the inner, So it's 18 times 3x again. So that's 54x again. And then you do 18 square. No, I think it's 364, but let's do 18 square, 324. Alright, plus 324. Now let's keep doing this. 7x plus 64. On the right hand side, you got 9x squared. You had to add 54x and 54x. That means 108x and plus 324. Now we're going to make this the main side, right? And we need to make that equals to 0. So get rid of this 7x by subtracting 7x. Get rid of this 64 by subtracting 64. Alright, but if you do that on the left, you have to subtract 7x minus 64. So you will get 9x squared, 108 minus 7 gives you 101x. And then 324 minus 64. So 324 minus 64. You get 260. So this will be plus 260 equals to 0. Alright, so this is what the bottom equation is what we have to solve. 9x squared plus 1x plus 260 equals to 0. And let's do that on the next slide. So this will be 9x squared plus 101x plus 260. Hopefully we didn't make any mistake. Alright, so A is 9, B is 101, and C will be 260. So we are going to do this. We have to find the answer using the quadratic formula. So on the first part you got minus B, so it's minus 101 minus B, right? And then the square root, instead of the square root you have 101 square. Alright, so you have to find the square of 101, 101 square. That's kind of funny. Let me try it again. 101 square. So it's 10,201. 10,201 minus 4 times A, minus 4A, C, minus 4 times A is 9, C will be 260. And then all of that inside of the radical. On the bottom you have to times A. A is 9, so that's 2 times 9 should be 18. Now let's do this. Minus 101 plus minus the square root of whatever that is, 18. Now to find the inside of this radical, to find the inside of the square root, you have to use the calculator. And so you do, let me do that again. 10,201 minus 4 times 9 times 260. Once you type all of that, you get equals, and that's 841. So inside of the radical 841. No, that's not right. 841. Now next you will have minus 101 plus minus, and then let's hope this will be a nice solution if the square root of 841 was an integer, but let's find out. Alright, the square root of 841 is 29, so this will be 29. So we have one solution with the plus, so let's do the plus. So notice the first number is negative 101, just refuses to move. Give me a second. Alright, so 101 negative plus 29, that will give you minus 72 divided by 18, and one of the answers will be minus 4, or one of the possible answers. We need to go back and verify. And the other would be 101. That's negative. You have to subtract the 29. So we use the plus. Let's use the minus now. And then you divide by 18. 130 divided by 18. So actually, minus 130 divided by 18. And if you divide by, let's divide by 130 divided by 2. We need to simplify that, right? So this gives you right here minus 65 divided by 9. And alright, so let's write those down. X will be minus 4 and x will be minus 65 over 9. Now before we actually say this is the solution, we need to see something. We need to verify something. Let's go to the next slide. The original equation was the square root of 7x plus 64 and equals 3x plus 18. And apparently the solutions were x equals minus 4 and x equals minus 65 over 9. Now one thing we had to verify is that this is not negative, right? Because the square root, this right here, this is always positive. If we want this to be negative, you will have to do a plus and a minus, right? But if you don't have a sign before it, it has to be positive. So we need to make sure that this is positive with x equals minus 4. So we'll do, if x equals minus 4, 3x plus 18 will be 3 times minus 4 plus 18. It will be minus 12 plus 18, and that's positive, right? So that's okay. So this one is okay. Let's do x equals minus 65 over 9. So that would be 3 times minus 65 over 9. Oops, plus 18. And if you do, well, let's do this on the bottom. You go 3 times 65 over 9. And that's negative. Plus 18. And that's negative. So this right here is negative. So this one doesn't work. The only solution is x equals minus 4. And let me repeat that again. This minus 65 over 9 is not a solution because the square root, this square root right here is positive. So this has to be positive. If it's not positive, it's not a solution. Alright, let's go and move on to the next. This is actually a totally 32, totally different. We're going to solve x minus 4 less than or equal 3x plus 8. This is an inequality, right? And you can do this a couple of different ways, but what I always like to do is to move everything in the in such a way that the x's are always positive, that the coefficients are always positive. So this is x, subtract x, subtract x. Now I do it this way because the x's on the left side cancel. The only thing you get is minus 4 less than or equal 3x minus x gives you 2x plus 8. So you subtract 8, subtract 8, so you get minus 12 less than or equals 2x, and the 8 cancels. Now we have to divide by 2. And we divide by 2 on the left and the right. On the left you get minus 6. So this is the answer. So x is greater or equal minus 6, or x is greater or equal than minus 6. Either one is the solution. Notice the direction of the inequality. X is greater than minus 6, and that's the same as here, right? X is greater than minus 6. This is a minus 6. All right. Let's do another one just like this one. You know, 7x. This is 33, I think. 7x minus 2x plus 5 less than 3 times 6 plus 5. And alright, so let's subtract. Let's simplify the left side. On the left side, 7x minus 2x gives you 5x plus 5, and then less than. On the right hand side, you multiply 3 times x, gives you 3x. 3 times 5 is 15. Now we are going to subtract 3x and subtract 3x, and I do that instead of the other way around, because when I do 5x minus 3x, you get 2x plus 5 less than 3x minus 3x cancel, you just get 15. Now you subtract 5, so you get 2x less than 10. Now you divide by 2, and you get x is less than 10. Now I'm going to do this differently. The answer is x less than 10. The answer should be the same, right? So 33 again, because I want to show you something. 7x minus 2x plus 5 less than 3 times x plus 5. So 7x minus 2x is 5x plus 5 less than 3x plus 15. Now let's say that I want to do it the other way around, right? So instead of subtracting 3x, I subtract 5x. That's perfectly okay. Subtract 5x. 5x minus 5x gives you nothing. You get 5 on the right hand side. 3x minus 3x minus 5x gives you 2x. No, actually minus 2x plus 15. So subtract 15. 5 minus 15 gives you minus 10, less than minus 2x. And then you divide by minus 2, The problem with this one, when you divide by negative 2, you have to switch this inequality. Instead of being this way, it had to be pointing the other direction. Instead of going to the right, or actually to the left, now it goes to the right. And minus 10 over minus 2 is 5. And I might have done the previous problem incorrectly, because this doesn't sound like the solution that I did earlier. Alright, the point I was trying to show you here, and I apologize for that mistake. The point that I was trying to show you is that when you divide by a negative or multiply by a negative, this inequality that is pointing in this direction has to be switched to this direction. And alright, so I'm gonna do 34, and I think that's the last one. This will be absolute 34. Absolute value of 2x minus 4 equals 10. That's actually not the last one. Alright. So this is the way we do it. Now, in order for us to get 10 as an absolute value, you need to do the absolute value of that is such a thing that when you find the absolute value, you get 10. There's actually two values, two solutions, right? Because you get, if this thing inside is 10, the absolute value of 10 will be 10. If the thing inside is negative 10, you also get the absolute value to be 10, right? So this thing inside, 2x minus 4, could be 10, or it could be negative 10. Alright, so you actually get two solutions. We are going to do it this way. You add 4, so 2x equals 14. You divide by 2, you get x equals 7. This is one of the solutions, right? You get another solution by solving this equation. You have to add 4, you get 2x equals minus 10 plus 4. You get minus 6, you divide by 2, you get x equals minus 3. And alright, so that's the solution. The last one. $35. 4 minus 2x equals 10 minus 2x. Whenever you get the absolute value of something equals to the absolute value of something, this is the way we do it. The thing inside here, 4 minus 2x, could be exactly the same as this thing inside, right? 10 minus 2x. It could happen, for example, if you have, alright, so the absolute value of something is equal to the absolute value of something else. The numbers inside could be 5 and 5. And of course that will be the same, right? So we have to solve this equation. We'll do that in a minute. But another option is the absolute value is equal to another absolute value. This right here could be 5. And the thing inside of the other square absolute value could be the same value but opposite, right? So 4 minus 2x could be equals to 10 minus 2x, except for the fact that it's the opposite sign, just like this one. So that's another option. Alright, so we are going to solve this one and we're going to solve this one. Let's do the left on the left side first. So you add 10, you add 2x, you get 4 equals 10. Oops, that's the problem, right? Because 4 cannot be 10. This is no solution. But let's do this one. 4 minus 2x equals the minus, make the 10 negative, the minus minus, make 2x positive. So you subtract 2x, so you get 4 minus 4x equals minus 10. The 2x minus 2x cancel on the right. Now let's get rid of this 4 by subtracting minus 4. So you get minus 4x equals minus 14. Now we divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4. So you get x equals minus 14 over minus 4. If you simplify, you get 7 over 2. And this is the only solution. Alright. Alright, so this is the end of video number 3. And if you have any question about any of the solutions, any of the problems, please send me an email or call me on my phone or text me, and I'll be happy to talk to you. Alright, so this is the end of video 3. I'm going to stop this.